At this point, be that these dudes are intentionally like they're intentionally missing the point. Because this guy, this I think his name is Bryson or Bryson. I don't want to mess up his name. I'm sorry. But I've seen several videos from him where it seems like he completely understands, the gender dynamics and all of this stuff. And then he uses it to try to gaslight women. And it just shows you like the level of diabolical that exists within most men, that even when men take the time to understand inequality and gender, gender dynamics and gender politics and things of that nature, masculinity, femininity, patriarchy, whatever, that a lot of men will use that knowledge just to manipulate women. And this dude is a prime example of that.
I saw this post that said, me listening to a man complain about how impossible it is to provide for a woman in this economy, yet somehow it's very possible and completely normal for a single mother to provide for her kids. Guys, they are so close. They're almost there. Okay, there are two major points that she missed. For one, the single mother analogy, you understand the man is the mother in that analogy, which makes you the child. Second point is,
I did another video. He likes to repeat this thing where, like, if a man is financially providing for a woman, then the woman is the child and the man is the father or the parent. He leaves out the fact that children don't do shit. I mean, let's be real. I know I'm an 80s baby. I'm a 90s child, right? My brother's a Gen Xer. I'm a Zillennial or Gen Z or millennial or whatever you want to say, right? My mom was a boomer. When I was growing up, it was like you had to clean up before you went outside, right? You had to clean up before you went outside. You had to do some type of labor in the home before you went outside. That's what my mom liked us to do. I never did it, to be honest with you. I rarely did. I rarely did it. When my sister was there, I would do it, but that's because we had a girl in the house. You know what I mean? Like we had a young woman, right? A girl. And she would hold everybody responsible. She would do her role and make sure I did mine and make sure my brother did his. She's 9 years older than me. She moved out when I was 8. She moved out when she was 17, 18. She was gone, right? So pretty much from 9 on up, I didn't clean shit before I left the house. Why am I telling you guys this? Because kids don't do shit. Kids don't do shit. And I love my babies. I'm not saying they should do anything. I'm not one of those like these ungrateful kids. I'm not on that type of time. I want my son to worry about himself, meaning I want him to clean up after himself. I want him to bathe himself, brush his own teeth, brush his own hair, wash his own face, do his own homework, do what he clean his room, his spaces, his messes. I want him to do that. But cleaning up for everybody else, that's not what I expect out of my son, right? Either one of my sons. Women, on the other hand, this is just a part of what women do. Just one. This is just one part of what women bring to the table, right? Why women cannot be compared to children simply because a nigga is paying rent. Like, let's be so fucking for real. Because that woman is going to do all of the labor in the home, if not the vast majority. That woman, on top of that, is going to do all, if not most, of the emotional labor in the home. Also, that woman is going to do all the physical childbirthing labor, the literal labor in that relation. Like, how in the fuck is she a child? Just because you make money. Now, I've already had this discussion with Mr. Bryce, and he saw my video because he was in my fucking comments. Niggas was adding him like, yeah, I remember clocking your shit a year ago, right? Not me, this person in my comments, and he showed up. So I know he already saw this, and he's going to see this again. Sir, women are not children. That's dumb. You infantilizing women in this way simply because in this scenario, if you're the man, you're paying all the bills is nuts. As much as you understand gender dynamics, I would think you would understand that, right? Because if you listen to him, he clearly gets it. Like, he gets most of it. And it was ironic, him saying, like, him of all people saying, oh, they're so close, but yet so far. Like, nigga, no, that's you. What that young woman said about being a single mother, you missed the whole fucking point. What she was saying was, people expect a woman to be able to provide, but you don't expect a man to be able to provide. That's all she was saying. Not only do they expect single mothers to provide, if a single mother isn't the best mother on the planet while providing, then she's a terrible mom. She has to somehow homeschool her kids and work a full-time job for the majority of society, mainly men, to say, oh, she's a decent mother. Just a decent mom. She got to figure out some way to show up to all the sporting events, make sure he getting all his projects done, turning all his homework on time. He never gets neglected. He always gets seen. The child always gets seen. I keep saying he, but the child always gets attention, so on and so forth, all while working 10 to 12 hours a day. And men really, really hold, like, if they see a woman with the child and the child is crying, he judging her. Society, a lot of women judge her too because of the patriarchy. But society is like, men are like, why that baby crying? Shut your baby up, man. That's what that woman is saying. That's what she's talking about.
If a single mother is able to provide for her children, I'm sure she'd be able to go 50-50, right? I'm sure she would love if someone was around to pay half the rent. I'm sure she would love if someone was around to pay half the price of food for her children. Look, the point of 50-50
I'm going to let him finish.
and not providing is not like, oh no, I need to save money, blah, blah, blah. The point is, you are a grown adult. You have more than the ability to contribute financially to the relationship. And if I see you as an equal, which I do,
the point that she's talking about, or the point that you're missing, sir, is that man comes into the relationship and it's not 50-50. When the man comes, when she is working and it's just a single mom, she is just taking care of herself and her child. She's just taking care of herself and her child. She's not, there's no emotional abuse going on. There's no fighting going on. There's no lying going on. There's no gaslighting going on. There's no nagging going. There's none of that going on. She's not cleaning up after another grown ass adult. She's not worried about another grown ass adult getting to work on time, or making sure that motherfucker got clean drawers and socks, and making sure all his clothes is folded, and making sure that motherfucker put away the food right at night. Like, she's not worried about any of that shit. All she has to do is go to work and come home. You add a human, a grown adult person that fucks up more than a child. Right? You add that person to the equation, and all that person does is pay half the bills. It's not worth it. It instantly becomes not worth it for the woman. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. Bryce, God damn. Shit is not rocket science.
the kid, the child. Second point is, if a single mother is able to provide for her children, I'm sure she'd be able to go 50-50, right? I'm sure she would love if someone was around to pay half the rent.
And that's and that part, I'm sure she would love somebody to be around to pay half the rent. That's what these motherfuckers be banking on. Like, what you gonna do? Be single or let a nigga like me pay half the rent? Be single. And that's why the women are choosing to be single.
Sure, she would love if someone was around to pay half the price of food for her children. Look, the point of 50-50 and not providing is not like, oh no, I need to save money, blah, blah, blah. The point is, you are a grown adult. You have more than the ability to contribute financially to the relationship. And if I see you as
You're right. She is a grown adult. Also, you are a grown adult, you would think. And when you talk about her contributing financially, then what the fuck does that leave? Now we have to talk about, what do you contribute as far as labor in the relationship? Okay, cool. You're paying half the rent. She's paying half the rent. Who's doing the majority of the labor in the house? You or her? Oh, her? Okay, shut the fuck up then. That's what I'm saying. That's what she's saying. That's what anybody that understands this stuff, that's what everybody understands.
Equal, which I do, I expect you to do so. And if you can't do that, then unfortunately, I don't know if I can see you as an equal. Because again, like the analogy said, if I'm the mother and you're the kids, I doubt your mother sees you as an equal when she's raising you and paying for everything that you have in life. Look, you can love and respect your kids, everything like that, don't get me wrong, but no, you do not see them as equals because they...
My children, if you mean... My children are autonomous. They are their rights are equal to mine. I do see them as equals. They don't have less rights than me. Whatever I do for my child is to protect them. I don't do anything because I just feel like doing it. Everything that I do for my child is to protect them, right? We are not mentally on the same level, not yet, but my children are definitely my equals. Definitely. They are definitely their own people. And I do everything in the world to make sure that they experience life through their own eyes and they have their own experiences, not through my eyes, not through what I want them to do, right? But what a combination of what they need to do and what they want to do. They are their own human beings, the same way I am my own human being. We are very much equal in that way. Now, you are projecting. If you think your kids are beneath you, which a lot of parents do, specifically men, then I can almost guarantee you are going to abuse your child. The same way, if you see a woman as beneath you, you are 100% going to abuse her. If you get into a relationship with a woman and you're paying all the bills and you think, well, she's beneath you, she's my child, you will inevitably, undoubtedly, indubitably abuse her without a doubt. It's going to happen, right? And you trying to gaslight these women by telling them, oh, well, I see you as an equal, so you should be paying half the bills, because if I have to pay all the bills, I am going to dehumanize you. I'm going to devalue you. That's what you're saying. That's all you. This is fucking gaslighting 101. Even you don't believe that. You want a woman to go 50-50 with you financially and then do 80% of the labor in the home. Nobody's falling for it.
They literally cannot provide for themselves. They are inherently not equal.
Nobody's falling for it, bro. And like I said, these dudes, they weaponize, feminist theory, right? They weaponize it. They learn a little bit. They learn just enough so that they can weaponize it against women and try to manipulate them. Here's another example.
I'm not going 50-50. Men are supposed to be providers and leaders. Ask that man who he voted for. Do you think dudes who believe in gender roles voted for Kamala Harris?
Yes. Yes. Tons of men, specifically black men, and especially black men who voted for Kamala Harris also believe in gender roles. You think the majority of the men who voted for Kamala Harris are like progressive when it comes to gender? They're not. They're not. I talk to black men all the time. I talk to men all the time. But I want to talk about black men specifically because black men were the largest demographic of men that voted for Kamala Harris, right? So black men, and we are the most quote unquote progressive. So it's good to talk about black men in this way. We are the most progressive men, and we voted for Kamala Harris the most. Even though I think 100% of black people should have voted for Kamala Harris. And I don't say that lightly. Like, I say that because they literally put Nazis in the White House, but that's neither here nor there. Black men very much believe in gender roles. Very much so, right? We are more progressive than every other man, but we also believe in gender roles still, because here's the thing about black men. I'm going to show you guys something. So shout out to my boy Lou Yu, right? I fucks with him. He a Long Beach native. We know each other. We go way back like 4 flats on the Cadillac. But this is what Lou said. Lou said, the sooner we all accept that race is a social construct, the better off we'll be. Then you scroll down, and then I said, race and gender are both social constructs and extremely destructive. Lou replied, I just want to know one thing. Do you think trans athletes should be able to compete against those in their self-identified gender? And I said, Lou, this right-wing talking point is hilarious. The answer is, of course, they should be allowed to compete. Next question is about if they should be allowed into certain restrooms, huh? And then this random dude who I don't know said, his name is Mike, I think, or Mick, I don't know, Mike Capes. He says, no, LOL. And I said, nah. And no. And then Lou said, nah, my next question was going to be, what is a woman? You got to remember, I don't have no friends. The right is too racist and the left is too woke. I'm just sad and I'm just a sad and uneducated loner. And then I replied to Mick or Mike. I said, typical response from black men. We hate oppression that affects us, but love oppression of other groups. And then Mick said, nigga, be quiet. They should be able to live their life however they want, but biological women shouldn't have to compete with biological men. That's not equal footing. Both things are true, right? Now, I didn't, but this is the thing. This is what black men struggle with. We understand race very well. Black men will acknowledge race in a heartbeat, but we will not acknowledge gender inequality. We won't. We will chastise people who have their fingernails painted. We'll judge people who want to identify as a gender that they were not assigned at birth, and so on and so forth. But we will turn around and we will vote for Kamala Harris. 86% of us, or however, whatever, I think it was like 86% of us will vote for Kamala Harris. That is based on race, sir. That has nothing to do with gender. We did not vote for Kamala Harris because she was a woman. We voted for her in spite of the fact that she was a woman. We voted for her because she was black and Trump was white and he's extremely racist. If Trump was not extremely racist and Kamala Harris was who she was, they probably would have ended up voting for the white team, man. I ain't gonna even hold you. The vote would have been way more split. The vote would have been way more split, specifically amongst black men, if Trump wasn't Trump, just so we know. So now men are trying to pull this like, oh, the conservative men. You hate the conservative men. Like, they know enough about this stuff to know that most women don't really like conservative-minded men. So he's using that whole who do you think they voted for? Like, you can see this shit. I'm seeing this shit a mile away. They're just weaponizing this stuff. Now, I'm going to give both of these dudes a pass to a certain extent, right? I'll give them both a little grace. Maybe they're relatively new. They're relatively new to this and they're just kind of figuring this shit out, right? And maybe in a year, he won't think this. I don't know. As he keeps, deconstructing this stuff. But as of right now, he sounds like he's just trying to be manipulative. That's what it sounds like to me.
I'm not going 50-50. Men are supposed to be providers and leaders. Ask that man who he voted for. Do you think dudes who believe in gender roles voted for Kamala Harris? Y'all be crying like, oh my God, I can't believe that Donald Trump, a convicted felon and essayer, won over a black woman. And then you turn around and you perpetuate misogyny like this. And then you...
What? What? Where's the misogyny? I'm sorry. Let me listen again. Let me see. Maybe I'm missing it.
Not going 50-50. Men are supposed to be providers and leaders. Ask that man who he voted for. Do you think dudes who believe in gender roles voted for Kamala Harris? Y'all be crying like, oh my God, I can't believe that Donald Trump, a convicted felon and essayer, won over a black woman. And then you turn around and you perpetuate misogyny like this. And then you wonder why the men that you date are emotionally unavailable or abusive. You can't have it both ways.
Wait, so because she thinks, now mind you, I agree with the part that men, it is internalized misogyny to assume that men are supposed to be leaders. I don't know so much about providers. I think it's perfectly fine for a woman to expect a man to, and I don't know what she meant by leadership. She could have literally meant like financially, like, a lot of people conflate being the breadwinner or the sole provider financially as a leader. Maybe that's what she meant. I don't know. But if we're separating the two, I don't have a problem even with the most feminist woman thinking that that she wants a man to be a financial provider and thinks that man should be financially providing, because we still live in a patriarchal, white supremacist, capitalist system of oppression. I don't have a problem with women feeling like that, right? Now, outside of this system, if this system didn't exist and then a woman was still like, yeah, I think men should financially provide for their women and children, then I would be like, all right, like you doing a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, like why you could, it's way more it's way more equal. Men and women make the same amount of money, or money doesn't, whatever, right? I think that's different. But yeah, as long as this system exists, I don't have a problem with any woman. I don't have a problem with what's her name? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm drawing a blank right now. I don't give a fuck if you Audre Lorde or Angela Davis or Bell Hooks. Like I don't give a fuck. That shit don't matter to me. Those women can still be like, no, I'm all, like, only seeing you as a provider is a problem. Only seeing you as a provider is a problem. Only seeing a man as a paycheck is a problem, right? But the system still exists. The system still exists, and women are still at a disadvantage in this system. So if she's like, nah, I expect the man to be the breadwinner because I'm going to take a pay cut, because that's a real world thing. Whether this is not an ideology, whether you believe in capitalism or whether you believe in the patriarchy, it doesn't matter. Materially, women are affected by being women. Like solely for being women, women are affected by that, right? And when women have kids, they make less money than men with kids. So if a woman is getting into a relationship with a man and she's like, look, I'm going to take a drastic pay cut and you're going to get a pay increase, therefore I expect you to be the breadwinner. What the fuck is wrong with that? That is not anti-feminist. That's just math at that point. I have no problem with that.
A lot of y'all women don't actually want to deconstruct the patriarchy.
Oh, and also even not the most, but even a lot of men who are on their unpacking and unlearning the patriarchal journey, men are still fucking not showing up enough in these relationships. Still, just so you know, because it's a learning thing. We're still growing. I'm 43 and I'm unpacking the shit, right? So if you're with a woman right now and you're 28 or 29 or 30, you think it's going to happen overnight? No, it might take a while. Hopefully she sticks around while you unpack it, but you're not going to show up for her equally in the relationship, like off the rip. It's not going to happen.
Then you turn around and you perpetuate misogyny like this. And then you wonder why the men that you date are emotionally unavailable or abusive. You can't have it both ways.
No, the men she dates are emotionally unavailable and abusive because the men are emotionally unavailable and abusive. That right there is misogynistic. Blaming the woman for the men being abusive is misogynistic and abusive, right? Since you want to call everybody to the fucking carpet like you got this shit, like you done cracked the code, my brother. Nah, that's actually more what she said about men being leaders and providers is way less harmful than you blaming women for men being harmful and abusive, right?
A lot of y'all women don't actually want to deconstruct the patriarchy. You just want a compassionate and kind patriarch that only benefits women.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you're right. There's a lot of black people who don't want to tear down capitalism. They just want more black people to get jobs. Right? And I would say that they're wrong in that. I would say they need to educate themselves further. But are they the problem? No. They're not the problem. They're not the cause of it. You know, they got some growing to do, absolutely. But let's keep helping them grow. But this right here, you're not helping them. You're not helping them with this. You think the women are going to listen to you and be like, I never saw it like that. No, bro, they don't care. Stop talking to women. You don't understand. You don't get it at all. You haven't unpacked it enough at all. And now it just sounds like you're weaponizing it to manipulate women like the idiot Bryce does.